There it
Good
is.
evening. We're live, Bill.
How are you, RFM?
I'm glad to see it's Friday night. I say TGIF.
Yeah. Thank goodness it's Friday.
Thank goodness it's Friday. It's been quite the week. And the week before that was a week too. But you know what my favorite part of this week was?
What's that?
My favorite part of this week was the opening 5 seconds of the Mormon newscast last Monday when Rebecca was not aware that she was live yet.
You have this tendency, and I think you do it on purpose, but when we go live, you keep saying things. And so Rebecca's like, I don't know when we're starting.
Yeah, she said something about, the church. I can't remember what it was, but it was funny because then I said, we're live.
Yeah, we did it. Folks, welcome to Mormonism After Dark. Glad that each of you are here to join the show. This is the show where you get to be part of this. So in the live chat, you'll see pinned in the comments is a post that gives the URL for StreamYard. I'm going to put it in there again, but this is how we'd love for you to come into the show. If you want to be anonymous, please keep your camera off, but make sure your mic is turned on. We've had some issues with that the last couple of weeks. And I'll just note, man, what a great time this is. As you pointed out, this is your favorite night. Mine too. We're glad that all of you guys are here with us.
You know, I love Friday night the best until Saturday night rolls around, and then I'm like previewing with everybody else, usually a new RFM, and, having a great time, because that's the time I can actually be in the live chat. Otherwise, it's something I look at after the show and it's all over.
Yeah. And I got a sneak preview of what was coming out tomorrow. Do you want to talk about that for a minute? What you've got coming out tomorrow night?
It is called Chiasmus Case Closed. And I think it's really a game changer. I think that this should and may, I think it should, but we'll see if it does, define the future discourse on the subject of chiasmus in the Book of Mormon.
Yeah. This will be exciting. So folks, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, check out here on the channel, Radio Free Mormon's newest episode, Taking Chiasmus, Tearing It Apart, and we'll see what we're left with when we're done.
I think this picture was taken shortly after my nose got broken.
Yeah, this is a great pic of you. I love it. Not sure where this one came out of the photo album, but
that's bad lighting. But anyway, that's it. And by the way, extra credit for any of you out there who can get the special Easter egg in that thumbnail. If you want to put it up there for just a second, Bill.
Yep.
You can get the Easter egg in the thumbnail. I know it's not that complicated, but check it out. See if you can. Let me know in the live chat or in the comments.
Yeah, please do. Put your comment down below. We'd love to hear from you tonight. And please do come into the studio if you got any bit of if you got any bit of the Holy Ghost telling you to step forward, come into the show sometime tonight. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. RFM, other things that we've got going. There was this thing where he's getting known by the name of GBG. What is it? Is it? Yeah, GBG, right?
I'm sorry. I feel like you just entered a completely different podcast. What are you talking? GBG?
Yeah, this guy.
Oh my gosh. The garment boy guy?
Garment bottom guy.
Oh, garment bottom guy. I just call him garment boy.
That's what Rebecca's calling him. Garment bottom guy.
Okay. That's fine. I like garment boy. But that's me. Brevity being the soul of wit and all that. Is that a pack of Marlboros in his shirt pocket, I wonder?
I don't know, but this guy did a douche move, and then it bit him in the garment ass, didn't it?
I know. It's like he was mooning people there at UVU. I don't know what he was doing. No, he apparently, according to the news reports, he began exclaiming that he was the shooter. So he was the first guy that got arrested. Apparently, when they put the handcuffs on him, I don't know what happened to his pants, okay? They got some from around his waist to down around his ankles. I don't know how that happened, but it did. So you've got a guy here who is getting arrested for the assassination at first, right? And then released later on when they find out he's just a loon. And then rearrested when they find out that on his phone are depictions of minors engaged in sexually explicit material.
Yes, this is a big deal because we all learned that this guy's a Mormon, most for him inconvenient way.
He is, I'd say he's a faithful Mormon.
Yeah.
from
And
the look of him.
most Latter-day Saints are going to be somewhere on the conservative side of the political spectrum. Not all, but most on the conservative side of the political spectrum. And hence, when Charlie Kirk is assassinated, you would expect Mormons in the audience to be supportive. And instead, this guy, after the shot is fired, he immediately yells, "I did it." So, and he says the reason he said that was to give the real shooter time to get away. And then this is what followed, correct?
Yes.
So I'll
So
play.
there's really, there may be a lot of question about, I don't know, Tyler Robinson's activity in the church, but I think this guy's pretty active. I'm
Yeah.
just guessing.
Let's see what happened to him. Here it is from the New York Post.
How dare you! How dare you! How dare you!
In the chaotic first few moments following Charlie Kirk's assassination, an older bald white man, handcuffed by cops, seemed to be the prime suspect. Now authorities have revealed that while he wasn't guilty of killing Kirk, he is being charged with something that will turn your stomach. In a sickening news release, the Utah County Sheriff's Office said that 71-year-old George Zinn has been charged with 4 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor, after investigators found over 20 images of kids as young as 5 years old on his phone, in which they appeared at least partially naked and in sexual poses. The agency went on to say that Zinn had admitted that he gets sexual gratification from viewing and sharing child pornography with others, and that his preferred victim age is 5 to 12 years old. Zinn captured the attention of authorities on September 10th when Charlie Kirk was fatally shot in front of a crowd at Utah Valley University. According to Utah's Fox 13, court records revealed that Zinn falsely confessed to murdering Kirk by yelling at cops, "I shot him, now shoot me." Zinn later claimed that he was attempting to distract the police from the real shooter. There is no current evidence that Zinn and suspect Tyler Robinson had any connection or were working together on this scheme. In the immediate aftermath of the assassination, Zinn's image spread across the internet, with many believing he was the one who pulled the trigger. Before the shooting, Zinn was already known to authorities. According to Salt Lake City County District Attorney Sim Gill, the political troll is infamous for being a gadfly who attends many political events and is almost always thrown out for his odd behavior. Zinn has racked up a number of trespassing arrests at events like film festivals, protests, and political rallies. Most ominously, he spent a year in the can in 2013 for threatening to bomb the Salt Lake City Marathon, according to reports. Police are now saying his false confession delayed the investigation into Kirk's killing and needlessly took up law enforcement resources at a critical juncture in the probe. For that, he has already been charged with a second-degree felony of obstruction of justice, on top of the latest stomach-turning charges of child exploitation.
Well, there you go.
If you're going to make a scene at a event where law enforcement at all levels is going to be highly involved, probably shouldn't have child pornography on your phone, huh?
Yeah, and you probably shouldn't be allowing them to search through your phone.
No.
Get a warrant is always the right answer.
A warrant, yeah, I'll get a warrant always. But then once, again, in something like this, you probably ought to start with the assumption that they will be able to get a warrant, since you just claimed you assassinated a known figure in broad daylight. So
by that time, I think they'd already arrested the second wrong person.
Crazy. And then he gets de-pantsed and he's wearing his bottom G's.
We just called it pantsed in high school. We didn't call it de-pantsed. Did you call it de-pantsed in your high school?
Nobody did that in my high school. I didn't know that was happening back
in kidding? Well, gym class, come on. Get with it, Bill.
They call it, de-pants. So there's that. Hopefully we'll not climb in the rope. But no, that didn't happen in my school. They did the whole thing where they tapped your nuts really fast. They walk up in front of you and just snap your nuts with their hand.
What the hell?
Yeah, that was.
We didn't do that in my high school.
Put your ear from behind. Yeah.
No.
You just got the pants taken down. We got smacked in the nuts. I bet. By the way, folks, would you comment? What was the cool thing that was uncool? By the way, that your kids in your school. Usually, it was the boys trying to get attention, but the boys in your school. What would they do to the other kids? That was the going thing to do.
Well, what about the girls too?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't know how that might get into ranges of assault. So I don't want to get there.
By the way, you get extra credit if you pants somebody when there are girls around. That's extra humiliating.
Yeah.
You know, my dad used to tell the story of when he was a student. This would have been around 1939, by the way, or 1938 or 40, when he was a student at the University of Colorado in Boulder, right? Family lived in Denver, he was in Colorado, and attending at Boulder. And at some point, he was a member of a fraternity. I'm sorry, I can't remember the 3 Greek names, and I apologize for that. It's whatever the engineering fraternity is. Okay. I guess you can probably look that up, but he told a story about getting, kind of stripped down, not just pants, but stripped down to his jock strap, tied to a tree, and then the hose turned on him in the middle of the day when everybody's in the quad.
There you go.
And that's what made The Greatest Generation.
I thought maybe we had Zen. Was that the guy's name that got depantsed?
Zinn.
Zen. I thought maybe it was Zen down below that was joining us, but no, this is Tim. I thought that
Robbins.
looked like Zen with a 3-day shadow there, a 6 o'clock shadow on. So
Tim Rathbone.
Yes.
Come not between a dragon and his Rothbone.
Well, I called to tell you a story about me getting shot.
that'll go well with this, unfortunately.
Are you fleeing the scene right now?
No, I'm going to meet some friends to listen to a band tonight.
Oh, what band?
I don't know the name of it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's a local band.
Okay, that's okay.
That'd be a cool band name.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of it. That would be a cool band name because it'd be easy to remember and people would have to be told, have it explained to them. Tell us your best shot story. Save the other one for next Friday. I want to hear your best one tonight.
Well, they're both not really that exciting. Let me just do both of them tonight. So, okay, my friends, I'm 17. My friends and I are shooting fireworks off in the park. This guy in a yellow Corvette sitting over there making out with his girlfriend, I think. Me and Mary Beth and Kevin and Robert, I think. And he gets out of the car, he fires a shot in the air, fires a shot over my head, and levels his gun at my chest.
Are you
what are you guys
me?
doing?
The guy in the Corvette?
Yes, the guy in the
How
Corvette.
close were you to the Corvette when you were setting off these fireworks?
About 100 yards away.
Really? So you were really cramping his style.
Well, he was way over in the corner of the parking lot, and we were near the baseball diamond.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably 100. You know, it was a distance though.
That bullet landed at the Piggly Wiggly, everybody.
Must have.
So that's what happened. But then what happened? He points it at your chest, and then what happens? Do you go down on your
What do
knees?
you got? What are you guys doing? He says we're shooting off firecrackers.
What the fuck are you doing, buddy?
You didn't know Rambo was in the yellow Corvette.
He turned around and he left. It's like, what the fuck? We're going, what the fuck? We got the hell out of there. But
Wow, yeah. Well, he thought you were actually firing at him, apparently.
I don't know. I have no idea.
All right, and shooting story number 2.
Came out. I lived with a place, and I lived in a trailer when I fed the horses, and I was feeding the horses one day, and all of a sudden a shot came from the west and went into Sierra's corral. I watched the bullet. I watched the dust right near her, and I thought, oh shit, who's shooting at me and why? And called the sheriff and never could figure out. It must have been a neighbor, a random shot or something. Who knows? It was out in the country.
Well, was it horse season at the time?
No.
Could have been. Answer.
Could have been. Anyway, those are my 2 encounters with being shot at.
I think I've told mine before. I've had
I was going to say, this guy hates cans.
What's that?
I was going to say, this guy hates cans.
I've had cops pull guns on me before when I was newly married. Me and my ex-spouse, her dad, my ex-father-in-law, put together a potato gun. He was telling me how he built it, and it's a pipe, and it's like 3-inch pipe at the base with a screw cap on the end and a barbecue igniter about a foot in, and then it it barreled down to like a 2-inch pipe, which was the barrel. So it was, extended out, and you'd stuff a potato all the way down it. You'd open up the cap, you spray some hairspray in, close the cap up, and then flick that barbecue igniter switch, and that spud would go, and it would shoot. It would be a gunshot noise, and it would shoot, I don't know, 100 yards out, out into a field or whatever. And so that's what I was doing. I went and built one. I went to Lowe's or Home Depot, bought the supplies, put it all together. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. So I had the missionaries with me. I was shooting it into a field, and I shot maybe 2 or 3 of them off. And all of a sudden, 2 cop cars pulled right up behind, whoop, 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 pulled up right behind me. And they both got out. And I didn't know yet exactly what's going on. So I'm holding the potato gun, and I go to turn around. And luckily, I left the potato gun pointing towards the field. And he told me to put the thing down. And afterward, he told me, if you would have turned that thing towards me, I was going to unload my gun into you, and that would have been the end of you. And I thought, this is just a fucking potato gun. You're going to imagine the newspaper the next morning on that. Guy shot for shooting off potatoes into a field. It's not considered a firearm, by the way, but the police did confiscate it. I was able to get material off the internet that showed that there had been other cases brought, and that potato guns were not deemed firearms, that the ATF had no regulation over those. And I went into the police station with all my paperwork. I asked to see whoever the guy in charge was, the sheriff or who's the sheriff of this town. And I said, I want my potato gun back. You've got it wrongly. And he said, I can have it wrongly or not. You'll never get that potato gun back ever again. And I just assumed it came out once a year at the police picnic, the annual police picnic. Otherwise, it probably just stayed in storage. So
I got to tell you a story here, and I'll make it brief and non-detailed, okay? But there was this case where I was representing this kid in a firearms charge, and it ended up that they had confiscated his firearm. It was a real firearm, probably belonged to his granddad. It had a lot of sentimental value. But we're not talking about robbing a bank. I hope you understand. The prosecutor finally dismissed it, but because the prosecutor was mad, right? The prosecutor refused to release his firearm to him on a case that the prosecutor had dismissed. And I confronted the prosecutor about this, and I said, so what are you doing? And he said, well, are you going to make me bring a motion to return it? And he said smugly, well, how are you going to do that? There's no more case. It's dismissed. So the agency that had the firearm in their evidence lockup, right, was the sheriff's office. So I called up the sheriff, who I have known for a long time, and told him the situation. And I said, please don't make me file a lawsuit against you, because I'd have to file a lawsuit against the prosecutor and against you because you're holding it. And I don't want to do this. And so the next thing I know is the sheriff went to talk to the prosecutor, and my client got his firearm back.
I did that I used to have a paralegal business, and I got my friend's firearm back after the case was dismissed. Interesting.
RFM wins again, and Tim Rathbone gets a victory too. Nice.
Yeah.
But I haven't been shot at yet.
I hope you never are.
Well,
It's
thank you.
unnerving.
What is that?
This is another rendition of a potato gun. This one has a a barbecue lighter. The ones you just push the switch and the flame comes out. The other one was a little flick button that created.
You flick it.
Yeah. There it is. You take the cap off, spray some airspray in, and it makes a good gun noise. I can see why the cops were called on me. Anyway,
sounds like a cannon. I've heard them. I've played with them.
Tim, if you learn anything tonight, don't have child pornography on your phone when you make a scene at a rally.
Oh my gosh!
Don't give your phone to the cops to search when you've got kiddie porn on it. Is the moral of this story?
I will not give the cops my phone unless I have a warrant. So, man, I'm glad they caught him, though. Let me say this much: I am happy they caught him.
Yeah, I think he's going to be doing more than a year this time.
I'd say 20 to 25, I'll bet. What do you think, RFM?
I'm not sure because Washington is not a parole state.
Okay.
So what you get sentenced to is what you serve, minus good time, of course. But it's not a
Right.
parole state where you get sentenced to 20 years and you could be out in 2, depending upon your behavior and your parole board and, that kind of stuff. So it's hard for me to guess in a parole state.
Okay.
Well, Tim, have a fun time listening to
Thank
music.
you.
Live band is always a great time. Good to be with friends. So kudos to
yeah.
you.
It'll be fun. Thank you,
Have
gentlemen.
fun.
Have a good day. All right. You too.
Down there in Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Everybody's
It's only
gonna go see-
89 today. So not.
I
We're
just checked that
getting
you're seeing the Banana Splits tonight. That's the band.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy it.
Thanks. Thanks.
They had a
guys.
couple of hit records, made it to 101
Yeah.
on the top 200 list.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go, Tim. Well, thank you. Have a great night, my friend.
Thank you. You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Drive safe.
I got to ask you a question, Bill.
Please ask anything.
When you're talking to someone like we were talking to Tim right there, okay,
Yeah.
do you have this constant sense of apprehension that what happens if he has a wreck right there on the scene and I watch this and I'm traumatized by it? It's like pre-trauma traumatization. It's like I'm anticipating it. I'm not wishing it on him, but it's like I'm scared about it happening. Am I the only one like that? Is there anybody else out there who feels that way? Probably not. Probably I just need to check myself into the local psych ward.
I didn't think it, but that would have been atrocious to have that happen. And shit like that's happened.
Yes.
People have killed themselves. People have killed others. People have had tragic accidents.
Mhm.
We live in an age where everybody wants to record themselves doing everything they do. And sometimes the things we do is die in horrific accidents and events. So it's bound to occur in an age of turning your phone on and hitting the record button and trying to be on the camera for one reason or another.
Mm. Well, that's cheerful. Sorry about that, everybody. That was a downer.
Yeah, it didn't happen in the early 1900s in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That's for sure. But it does happen. It does happen in today's world.
The good news is it didn't happen, though.
It didn't. Good. Tim's
still safely on his way to the Banana Splits concert.
Yeah. Talking about a banana split.
Yes.
We had a fun time on Wednesday night, Mormonism Live. We get to the end of the show and we take calls.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing so hard at your picture and my picture.
Yeah, you look so serious, and I already know where this is going to go because I know who this is. This was Ned of course, he wants his middle name known. Ned Winfield Scarsbrick. He's in his recording studio. I didn't think his sound quality was that great. So, Ned, you might need to get a microphone or something.
Well, he's kind of far away from his mic.
He's wearing his Masonic hat because we were talking about Masonry.
He just always wears that around.
He might. And then does the handshake up at the upper forearm, and it's a Mason when that happens. Ned decided to call the show. We had just laid out the case that Joseph Smith, in no uncertain terms, connected Masonry to the temple endowment by claiming that Masonry was a corrupted, degenerated temple ritual, and that Joseph Smith was the restorer of all restorers, and that he had fixed it, and that the church's current position and that of apologists today was nonsensical. And Ned decided he wanted to call in and put his 2 cents in on the matter. And I thought this was, and you did too, thought this was just a really entertaining phone call. Any comments?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if you were expecting a comment from me. I'm anticipating watching this again. It was really nice to have him call in. And I did say some nice things about him afterward because I felt like he was a good sport. He rolled with the punches. He didn't get angry. And I'm trying to bite my tongue and let you get your questions in, while I'm chomping at the bit, obviously. And then when you're done with your questions for him, then I have a few of mine. And then we're kind of done with him and say some nice things. And he seems like a nice guy.
If you didn't see the show Wednesday night, Ned and I both were with Fair Mormon at the same time. In fact, when we won the 2013 podcast awards in the religious category, Ned Scarsbrick and I were both mentioned by the person who went to Vegas on behalf of Fair.
And Fair deserved that award.
Fair cheated.
They worked hard for that award.
I'll say it one more time. Fair is an organization of volunteers, and the leadership at Fair said, I know how we can win this and get some publicity for the church and for our podcast. All of you volunteers, multiple times a day, 20, 30, 50, 100 times a day, click this link and vote for the Faircast, Fair Mormons podcast. And by golly, it wasn't because of the listeners, which there are very few. It was because of the Fair Mormon volunteers, of which there are many, that we won the awards that year. And that was the year I was with Fair. It's the last time they won the awards. They haven't won since. And 95% of their content was me. The other 5 to 10% was Ned Scarsbrick, putting out content that year as one of the content creators for the Faircast.
I listened to those.
Yeah.
And I remembered that, I think, while I'm talking with him, and then I commented on it afterward. Yeah, I had listened to a few of those. I found them, well, I don't remember anything he said, but it was nice listening to him.
Great. I love it.
It's been many years. It's not like you, where you made an impact on my life talking about the stages of faith.
Yeah. If I, and again, no offense to Ned, but I could never really figure out what it was he was talking about. So when you said that, I laughed because the episodes he created, they were sort of a little different. I don't know if they're still out there. I mean, Fair removed me. I'm sure they left Ned on. Ned's not with Fair anymore for whatever reason. And maybe we'll get that someday when Ned calls in. But we'll play this call. You and I got a lot of chuckles out of it. We thought it'd be a little fun for the folks tonight to replay this. So here it is. Ned, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay. How's the gain? Too high, too low?
You're great, my friend. What's on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you what, after listening to all this stuff, you can have me on for an hour and a half, and I'll tell you a bunch of details about Masonry and how it relates.
Just FYI, he came on. Oh. This isn't the first time Ned's reached out.
The real you.
This is the real me. This isn't the first time Ned's reached out to me. Ned's reached out to me 3, 4, 5 times at this point, asking to be on our show. And
he's been humping your leg trying to get on the show, huh, Bill?
He has. He hasn't finished yet, but he has been humping my leg. And I don't know what value it would have, because you'll see from this part of the conversation as he's on and we talk about things, he doesn't really want to go into the issue. He wants to come up with a workaround, and you'll see that here.
To the church and the concepts and principles.
You got your Masonic hat on, don't you, Ned?
That's because I'm a faithful Mason and I'm a member of the church.
Do they wear those hats in the temple, or do you call them the lodge, or is it both?
The only one that's allowed to wear a hat in the lodge is the master when he's serving in that position.
Can he wear any kind of hat? By the way, Bill?
No, you wear
not to give too much away about my methodologies, but I've immediately taken him off script. This is the whole point of coming in from the side and hitting him a few times, because he was just going down his script, right? So you got to come in with a few questions from left field, knock him off his script so we can actually maybe have a chance of communicating.
Yeah, and I'm sure you saw it. I saw this, which as soon as he comes on, he says, hey, I listened to your show tonight. I got my Mason hat on, so it looks like I am calling in regards to the topic at hand. But if you notice the words he uses at the beginning, it's just he wants to be on for an hour and a half and just talk about things. He doesn't really care about talking about Masonry specifically. He would if we asked him to, but he has an agenda here. His agenda is to let our audience know who he is, and to let the audience know that he wants to be on, and that he is so willing to be a participant and have a long form conversation of some sort, which, by the way, I love long form conversation.
Yes, you do, much more than I do.
But you have to be willing. We all have to go in going, this isn't about making excuses for the church. This is, can you tackle the hard questions that point at Mormonism being a contradiction? And can you answer those? And
Mhm.
Ned would rather talk about other things.
Yeah. By the way, when I say that, I mean you're the master of the long form. Not just that you like it better than I do, or that there's something wrong with it.
I think it's the only way to show an audience explicitly that Mormonism doesn't add up, that they can see. It's almost like watching two people relay the CES letter. You get overloaded with all the questions over all the issues that walk the apologists into a corner and force them to either display that they're going to make excuses and distance themselves from the question, or they're going to tackle it and acknowledge the flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, here's Ned.
You could say old bowler hat, but kind of a top hat type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This one's based on the three basic principles of Masonry, which is faith, hope, and charity. For our faith may be lost in sight and our hope end in fruition, but charity extends beyond the grave through the boundless realms of eternity.
Yeah, faith, hope, and charity, and the greatest of them all is charity, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It sounds like you're trying to Christianize Masonry, Ned.
I think that it's based on it because back in the days in England, it was the Church of England and Catholicism and Protestantism, and that was the true religion.
So folks may not know this in the chat. I don't know if you're currently with Fair. Are you currently with them?
No, I'm not currently with them, but I was in the past. I know Greg Kearney well. We haven't talked in a while, but you and I worked together on Fair.
Yep.
And I think what Fair wants to do, and the reason I'm not active with them anymore, is they want to promote the institutional church as be the primary focus in all things. And whatever they says, the Handbook of Instruction for all intents and purposes is official doctrine.
You disagree with that?
I don't recall.
You don't think the church should be the primary focus in all fields of endeavor?
Well, I think I got something for you that you might think that's appropriate. You tell me if this goes with it.
Can I just say, you could see that deflection coming from a mile away. He had this thing ready to go so that whenever something came up that he needed to get away from it. And again, he did it in a humorous way, and it's entertaining, not really, but entertaining.
In an unfunny way.
In an
entertaining in an unentertaining way. It's funny in an unfunny way.
It is.
Yes.
But you and I are immediately like, why didn't you just fucking answer the question, Ned? Just answer the goddamn question.
Yeah, and I got to ask you something. What was that he was playing?
Don't know.
We were supposed to get it. There's supposed to be a message in there. Maybe he was playing something backward, and it was back masked.
Alice in Chains or something. I don't know.
So someone, Chuck saying go straight to the ZZ Top. So I've got no idea though what the words were there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't even know what the purpose of it. It's again, every moment here trying to get him just to give us the direct answer to a question is encountered with some deflection, and he's not doing it rudely.
No.
He may not even know he's doing it, but it's the game that all apologists play.
This is Ned's Ronald E. Pullman moment where he's saying, you don't need the church when you get to a certain point, you know, and he's going to, of course, get in trouble for that because, I mean, that's what Ron Pullman got in trouble for, right?
Yeah.
He never made it to apostle after that.
Yeah, he didn't really want to answer that question. And then when you asked the follow-up, he went to the music.
Yes.
Hey, Ned, I can't have you playing music. And we'll get an issue there. So please turn that off. I want to ask you.
It's bad enough having you on the show at all.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. So I want to pin you down for a moment, and I want you to state what your perspective. And I can't have you go on for 20 minutes. So just clearly, do you believe that Joseph Smith got revelation from God, fixing a corrupted form of the endowment known as the Masonic rituals, and that what Mormonism ended up with in the endowment is what God wanted us to have there? with all of that Masonic ritual in it?
I don't know. What I do know is that he used it as an adaptation for doctrine, principles, and covenants. Just like he had Emma Smith go out and find Christian songs to use in the church.
It's not anything like Emma Smith finding Christian songs for the church. It is that Joseph Smith said this was a corrupted, degenerative form of the endowment, and I'm here to restore it.
So you don't agree with his analogy?
No. And isn't that a thing too, that apologists always pick an analogy that suits their case, but it really is apples and oranges. It's not the same thing. Emma was told, Emma, go out into the Christian world and find the hymns that we in this church should sing.
Yes.
That's very different than God explicitly telling Joseph Smith, this is a corrupted, degenerated endowment.
And the amazing part is that the penalties weren't part of the corrupted and degenerated part. The amazing thing is that the penalties weren't part of the corrupted and degenerated part of Masonry. That was good. That part was good.
That part belonged.
Yes. That's what I'm getting at. That made the cut.
Lest I slit my throat. Mr. Elder Holland, did Mitt Romney promise to keep his covenants lest he slit his throat?
No, there are no penalties in the temple. No, there are no penalties in the temple. I'll just do Richard Nixon. Let me say this about that.
All right. So Ned has tried to make this the same as Emma selecting the hymns. Let's see what else he does next. Hold on. You're saying that he used it as an adaptation, but what he said is he told Wilford Woodruff and others, Heber C. Kimball and others, he told them that Masonry is a degenerative form of the priesthood and that he was fixing it and restoring it, not that he was utilizing the thing.
That's what he believed. That's what a lot of the early brethren of the church believed. It wasn't true.
So then the endowment.
No big deal.
How much of Mormonism is what Joseph Smith believed, but not what God told him?
I know. I mean, that's what they believed. It's no big deal. They were wrong.
Ned can come out and correct me if I'm wrong, but Ned, you would agree that sleeping with 14 and 15 and 16-year-old girls was not what God told him, but what he believed.
Mm-hmm.
The Adamic language, you would agree, having connections to English makes zero sense. That can't be what God told him. That has to be what Joseph Smith believed. The race and the priesthood and Brigham Young, you have to believe that Brigham Young didn't get that from God, right? That's just what he believed. And then, Book of Abraham and the Egyptian papyri, that's just what Joseph believed. We've gotten to the point, RFM, where on every issue of Mormonism, when you pin an apologist down, they literally are telling you, Joseph fucked it up, but it all came out in the wash.
It's okay, though. It's okay. This is the school of Joseph Smith cocked it up apologetics. The Ned Winfield Scarsbrick apologetic school of Joseph Smith. No, school of Joseph Smith cocked it up apologetics. That's going to be the whole title.
What kind of religion are we in now where the apologists go, yeah, he got this wrong, 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 and that wrong. But, God's still making it work. God's still making it happen.
And the amazing thing is they don't see any of their white flags as red flags.
Yeah. I'm going to bring Patrick on. Patrick, I'm going to play the next part. You'll get to comment on that. You can share your thoughts too about whatever else is on your mind, but
okay.
We'll see where this goes. By the way, the audio issues, we do have audio issues at times. If you and I are both talking at the same time, for instance, RFM, it'll distort the sound. But when you and I are talking in this part with Ned, the sound is off, and it's because something on Ned's side is wrong. It's not going wrong the rest of the show, other than when we're talking at the same time. So, Ned, please, we'd love to have you back on, but
We
please,
would?
Yeah, I think.
Are you speaking for both of us?
I think he gives us more content for Mormonism After Dark that allows us and the audience to laugh and to chuckle and to see Mormonism for what it is. So I welcome that, with or without.
I feel like I've said everything I have to say to him.
Ned is about to explain this in a whole nother way that I think will make for a fun conversation. So here's the next little segment. Has untrue things in it.
No, the principles and the doctrines and the covenants are true. How they're represented and how they're used as a symbolic teaching method, that's what's different.
So
like you could go ahead and shake someone's hand.
So penalties, but penalties of killing yourself if you reveal the things while Masonry may not have been the God-given source for it. God wanted body harming gestures to be done, and for us to make commitments to keep those promises lest we harm ourselves. And Joseph just simply used Masonry to convey those things because it had it too?
No, I don't think that's a principle at all. I think
so the penalty shouldn't have been there. That wasn't a principle at all.
You know, when you're busy taking the inspired parts of Masonry and not taking the uninspired parts, sometimes the uninspired parts sort of get brought along unintentionally.
Patrick, do you think that this kind of apologetics, it definitely is going to keep people in who begin to encounter problems, but they really want to stay and they need Mormonism to be true. But is it going to bring anybody back? What do you think?
Oh, not at all. I mean, it's, I think I lost IQ points listening to that, you know?
Yeah. I'll play another segment here, Patrick, but anything else on your mind? What else are you thinking about?
I've got quite a bit.
Yeah, share a thing or two.
Okay. So last I called in, we were talking a little bit about the Spalding-Rigdon theory versus the sole author theory.
Okay.
And yeah, Colby jumped in the chat and said, hey, if you can send me some of the resources you're looking at, I'd like to look at it. And Colby was kind enough to do that. And so I think it's fair to say that there's no there's no home runs against the theory. We'd love to have more evidence, you know, here, more evidence there, you know, rephrase this a little bit, that sort of thing. But there wasn't any real
do we have any
critical problems.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Do we have, I mean this sincerely, do we have any tangible connection to Joseph Smith and Sidney Rigdon meeting together prior to when Rigdon is
December 1830.
Yeah, is seen in church history as meeting Joseph Smith.
Yeah, just what you presented in the 3 episodes that you did, which leave us to kind of scratch our head and say it's inconclusive. There are accounts that say that there was a connection. They're just not particularly strong accounts.
Patrick, can I ask you a question? Do you
Sure.
think that there would be anybody really pursuing this line of argument or research if it weren't for the fact that they already believe that Joseph Smith alone could not have written the Book of Mormon or dictated it?
That's not my motivation at all. I've got like 5 categories of evidence that I think leave me with an open mind towards the theory. I've just wanted to steelman it and research it and brush up on the parts where I don't have a good understanding. And every door you open, there's 2 more doors. I mean, every single thing I've looked at, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 points, the more I learn, the more it looks more and more like more likely that somebody like Sidney Rigdon was kind of the main guy. So do you want to hear my 4 categories of evidence, 5 categories of evidence?
Yeah, if you can just tell us the categories and tell it, 5-10 minutes. Is that okay, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because when I talked to Colby, the document I put together was like 6 or 7 pages, and now it's up to 20 pages. So I think let's just look at the framework. So The number, and we've kind of talked about some of this previously. So the first category is the word print studies. So I've dug a little bit more into the word print studies. There are 7 studies in total. There's 6 that used common word analysis. That's where you look at words which are very difficult to manipulate because they don't carry meaning. Of all of the 6 studies that use common word
Non-contextual
analysis,
words.
I'm sorry?
Non-contextual words.
Right, non-contextual. All of the studies that use that methodology show that there's multiple authors. The one study that shows that there's likely one author used noun richness, words that have context, and nobody in the evolution of this science took that methodology and moved it forward. All the other studies
your
moved.
time's up already on the first category. Okay.
Okay. Second category is the stylometry, where they
Isn't that the same
compare
thing?
4. I'm sorry.
Isn't stylometry the exact same thing as number 1?
It's a different type of analysis. It's the conclusion, I think, is important enough that I wanted to separate it out, because in this case you're actually
You're making
taking
2 categories out of 1, really, just to make your case sound stronger.
No, let me present it and then you can see.
Okay.
The 7 studies are word print. This one is taking 4 authors: Austin, Fenimore Cooper, Charles Dickens, and Mark Twain, 2 books apiece. So there's 8 books, 4 authors, and they compare the diversity of the voices against the Book of Mormon. And so it's kind of a whole different type of analysis. And it shows that there's more diversity in the Book of Mormon than there is in those 4 authors with 8 different books. To me, that's just stunning. I can't make sense of that under sole author. That's the second category.
Let me pipe in for just a second, which is, if you look at stylometry using the Mosiah priority, it actually has a bit of stylistic drift trajectory to it. And the argument could be made that, number 1, those authors also in their work present the voices of differing authors. So it is at least somewhat expected in the realm of literature for an author to be able to encompass multiple voices. Number 2 is that Smith took a long amount of time to do this project. We give him so much time for writing it. We also have years in which he keeps kicking the project down the street. And once you don't believe in the magical side of that narrative, you have to ask yourself, why is Smith kicking the can down the street? Yeah. And it has to be to give himself more time to prepare the narrative and to make plates and to do all the things. So he's got plenty of time to think about it. And then my third point, again, what I said at the beginning, which is if you put Mosiah at the beginning, go to the end of the Book of Mormon, and then put Nephi at the very end, Jacob and all of that, then you actually end up with a pretty reasonable trajectory where it looks like simply the voice of the Book of Mormon drifted over the course of that time.
Yeah, I'll address all of that in the next 2 categories, actually. The third category is Rob Terry's framework. And I'm calling it a framework because it's not really a theory or a model.
By the way, when you say Rob Terry, you also want to say Randall Bowen, who he went by for about the entire decade that he was doing work in Mormonism.
Is this Church's True Guy?
Church's True Guy, yes.
Yeah. So Rob Terry read the Book of Mormon very carefully, and he put a framework together. It's kind of what you're describing a little bit, Bill, except it's when he's reading it, he's saying that there's a sermon voice, a narrative voice, which are very clear in the first parts of the Book of Mormon according to the Mosiah priority. They switch back and forth, but when you take the narrative voice in Alma and Mosiah and Ether, they're all the same. So the books don't really matter. It's the voice, the narrative voice. And then when you look at the sermon voice, it's the same in Alma, Mosiah, Ether. It's very clear.
Okay.
And then the third voice is the late voice. And you talked, Bill, about stylistic drift. There's what actually happens is it's just a completely different. There's some switching back and forth. There's topics which are completely different, which are not addressed at all in the first part of the book. And so he creates this framework. And so when you look at the text of the Book of Mormon, which is the fourth category, and you start comparing the switch between wherefore and therefore, you look at the E mod E, you look at Joseph breaking the fourth wall and
Patrick.
speaking directly and interacting with the Whitmer family.
Patrick, have
All
you
of
ever
those
seen the movie
things-
Sandlot?
I'm sorry?
You ever seen the movie Sandlot? You know the expression, "You're killing me, Smalls"?
Yeah.
Well, I think
know
you're
what
killing our audience.
To be honest, Patrick, I don't get
I'm sorry.
excited about the Solomon Spaulding, Sidney Rigdon theory, mainly because it's making a suggestive idea, but for which we're all grabbing at straws because there's no real tangible evidence, and everything is from the other side of the aisle, where it's like, maybe, possibly, this is a little bit of a connection here, and it just doesn't have the strength. And so I think, like RFM is saying, like Holly said there in the comments, most people have already written it off, not because they didn't explore it. They explored the issues. They understand the things you're talking about, but they don't find it convincing.
Okay, let me.
So, Patrick, here's the deal. We gave you the 5. I already gave you the 5. You used it on 3. We're going to have to move on at this point, and I apologize to you for that. But I've got to think of the good of, humanity.
That's fine. I don't think you've explored. I don't think you've really explored it, Bill, to be honest.
I feel like we've spent a lot of time on the Sidney Rigdon, Solomon Spaulding connection, and
I tell you what, after Bill went through all that stuff, it was one
all.
of his shows, Patrick. He went through
What's
all
that?
that stuff that you know about and that he found out and that I was learning about. And it finally led Bill to go, well, I don't know. Maybe it could be. In other words, he didn't shut the door completely on it. He's got it open a little bit. So,
but
okay,
the
last evidences don't relate anything to do with pre Sidney Rigdon and Solomon Spaulding. They have nothing to do with that. It's all what happened when Sidney Rigdon shows up.
Yeah.
Sidney Rigdon.
We agree. Rigdon has a lot of influence
on Joseph Smith, and David Whitmer got pissed off over it. We know that much. Yes. And he documented it.
But also, I don't have to. I'm not forced by the evidence to take Rigdon as the reason that the Book of Mormon has that whisper of that theology. I'm already aware that Joseph Smith is plagiarizing the sermons of his day in Palmyra. There are other versions of Christianity running rampant in the burned over district.
Yeah.
It doesn't require Mormon thought processes to have Book of Mormon theology. It requires things that Joseph Smith heard from others that were appealing to him. And I think Rigdon's theology plausibly can be seen from those angles. And then I don't need Rigdon, and I don't have any real evidence that ties Rigdon to the crime. And so we're always left wanting, and we could spend 20 years hashing this out, but we're still at the end going to be just left wanting. There's not enough there
not enough evidence.
Not enough there to make a go of it.
Yeah. So do you understand Rigdon enough to know that he likely is responsible for the majority of the doctrine post Book of Mormon?
Yes, but he's there for post Book of Mormon. So I can accept that. And the
other offices.
Yeah.
Especially, high priest.
Yeah. So no offense. What I would suggest is you start a YouTube channel and you put 100 videos together like Michelle Stone, and you bring out your theory in all of its majesty and give people the chance to see whether it credibly holds up or not.
Yeah.
I'm not good idea. What do you think a good title for that would be, Bill?
One problem.
One problem.
One problem.
Have a great day, Patrick.
That's not a bad idea. Thank
All
you,
right.
Patrick. Please forgive me. I feel like I'm going to hell now. It's so hard to try and keep the show going.
Holly, I hope we redeemed ourselves with one problem.
One problem. We got one problem, which is there's just not, the evidence isn't there. I mean, when you've got to take word count studies and make it into 3 freaking categories of evidence, you can end up with 9.
There's word print analysis and stylometry.
Stylometry is word print analysis.
And Rob Terry talking about stylometry.
Yes. Because Rob Terry comes to my conclusion. So obviously that's a separate category of evidence. I'm sorry, Pat. He's probably still watching. I'm sorry. But David P. Wright, in the paper that I covered a while back, not that long ago on Radio Free Mormon, about Alma the book of Alma using Hebrews, the epistle to the Hebrews, and how it works with it, right? One of the things that David P. Wright concluded is looking at that and then looking at other places where Joseph Smith does very similar things in his other translation projects, led David P. Wright to conclude that we can see the same kind of literary interaction with the Bible in the Book of Mormon that we see in the Joseph Smith translation, that we see in the Book of Abraham. And he used that as an evidence to him that Joseph Smith was responsible for all of them.
Yes. And to take this a step further, I'm going to put Ned back up on the screen.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to my stuff yet.
No. Isn't it a strange thing that Joseph Smith is a prophet? He is communicating with the fucking creator of the universe. And Sidney Rigdon gets to put his stamp on what Mormon theology is going to be. Isn't that insane?
Well, except for the fact that I'm not sure that Patrick thinks that the Book of Mormon is inspired. I think that he just thinks that there were multiple authors.
No. I'm talking about Ned now at this point.
Ned. I'm sorry. Okay.
Another thing Ned would have to deal with in the plethora of a million issues that lay at the foot of Mormonism telling you that it's not true is that Joseph Smith goes, hey, I've got a direct channel to God. I've got gold plates. I'm translating them into a Book of Mormon. I'm getting answers on the spirit world and the 3 degrees of heaven and
tobacco.
But Sidney, why don't you tell me what you think about things?
Well, one of the things, I know that it does not fit the model. Historically, though, of course, Joseph Smith was very eager, or what he would do is he would see other people who had achievements that he felt he didn't have and would look to them for their expertise. He was very trusting in that regard, and too soon, probably.
It might be more of what we talked about on Wednesday, which is Joseph sees what Rigdon does is Rigdon presents credibility. So you take Rigdon's credibility and you make it your own. You put your little twist on it. You have a little thing here, a little thing there, and you get to continue utilizing things that the general population who are intrigued by Mormonism, not the general population in general, but those who are interested in Mormonism, they are drawn to these little touchstones of reality that impress them in an irrational and illogical way, impress them that there's something real here, something true here. Jackson, I'm going to bring you on. We're going to play another clip.
Hey, Jackson, Action Jackson, how you doing?
Hi. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, you're there. I hear you. You're good.
Oh, sweet. You can hear me? Great.
Yep. I'm going to play another clip of Ned Scarsbrick. And we'll get
you get to watch me now. This is what you're going to be subjected to. This is the penalty you have to pay.
So it may go for a few minutes here, and then we'll ask you what you think of how RFM and Ned Scarsbrick are interacting.
I can't hear it, Bill. Can you hear it?
Oh,
I don't think anybody else out there can hear it.
The temple.
Back it up a little.
That's the principle of masonry. And it's also the principle in the temple.
Yeah.
And also the executions of the penalties that were used back in masonry are such that your body would no longer be whole. And it was taught by the religion back then, if your body wasn't whole, you could never be resurrected.
I'm going to ask you one more thing, and then RFM, if you got anything, you can ask.
Go ahead.
My last question is, don't you sense, Ned, that you come to every problematic issue in Mormonism, including this one, and it's only because things didn't unfold the way we expected them to, that you now have to create a new reconciliation for the thing that didn't turn out to be the way it was claimed to be?
And I think it depends on how you view the situation. I see the institutional church as separate from the gospel of Jesus Christ.
That's the convenience you've used.
I don't think it's a convenience at all. That's my reality.
It's a convenience that you've used when the church didn't add up. If it would have just showed up adding up to all the things it told us it was, we wouldn't need any of these workarounds. We only come up with a workaround when we're disappointed that it's not what we thought it was going to be.
Well, as long as you put your trust in the ever-living God, because He's the one who's going to decide where you are in eternity.
Those thought-stopping techniques, they work beautifully, Ned. All you have to do is...
Isn't that the truth, though?
So you don't need Mormonism. Okay, I think you better stop here.
Again?
You don't, because that's where I started in. It's going to go for a while. We don't need to, over penalize Jackson just for calling in.
Jackson,
are you at college? What are you wearing that hippie love T-shirt for?
I've had this shirt for years, actually. Well, it's been a hot minute. Good to see both of you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me just trounce on in here, and
that's what this show's about. You trouncing in here.
Yeah. After
don't
dark,
make me throw you off like Patrick. Okay.
Yeah. No, you're all good.
Brutal.
Forgive me just coming into this conversation fairly blind. I don't know much about the context or the background of the particular video that you're clipping from, but certainly sounds up the alley of the kind of content that I tend to encounter here. So this
you're a
sounds like
frequent watcher.
Well, sometimes I dabble. Is this gentleman a Freemason himself? Is that safe to say from his hat?
He represents himself as being. He's got a hat, but it could be stolen, not valor, but stolen. I don't know.
Mormon apologist, and faithful Mason.
Interesting. Yeah,
and that is his hat. Can you see his hat?
Yeah, I can see his hat.
Yeah,
I almost became a Mason myself recently.
Will they not accept you?
Yeah, had I not moved across the country from Boston to California for my PhD program, I probably would have moved forward with joining the Harvard Lodge. I got to the point of getting accepted by them, but unfortunately, it came right as I was hearing back from different doctoral programs. So I might pick things back up here in California now. My good friend Stephen Smoot, he recently became a Mason.
There's a lodge that actually accepted Smoot.
Oh yeah.
Low standards, huh? They must be kind of desperate for membership at this point.
Oh no, I think he'll probably bring a lot of value to them. From what I understand, there's two primary lodges kind of in the Salt Lake area. They have their own kind of internal cultures. The one that I've heard that Stephen is part of seems to be maybe like half Latter-day Saints, half former Latter-day Saints. So, it's cool that they're able to come together and, still share some common ground.
Is he hoping to find connections to Egyptology there?
In Masonry, I'm not sure. I know that of course he's continuing. You
can find him anywhere.
He's continuing his PhD program in Egyptology at the Catholic University of America. I'm not so sure what plans he has with Freemasonry in particular.
Well, at least it keeps him out of the pool halls. That's what my dad always used to say.
Anything specific on your mind tonight, Jackson? Yeah, keep him out of the pool halls.
Well, I guess, right. There's been so much commentary following the, really tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk, lately and or recently, and that's weighed on my mind as I've reflected on both kind of the ways in which I want to approach political conversations and of course also the ways that I hope to dialogue across lines of difference when it comes to religious differences too. So due to some personal circumstances, usually in the past several years I've been a bit careful when it comes to podcast appearances related to Mormonism, just because I'm in a PhD program that's not related to Mormon studies. I'm doing like Armenian history, but I'm on a bit of a personal break right now, like a medical leave of absence. So I figured it'd be nice to just reconnect with both of you and see how things are going.
You're on a medical leave of absence from Mormonism?
No, from my PhD program.
Okay,
In
gotcha.
Harvard, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
are you in Utah?
I'm at UCLA right now. I'm in the same department actually that graduated both John Gee and Carrie Muhlestein.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't want to get personal, but I'm figuring that the medical reason that stopped you from attending Harvard is not sufficient to stop you from attending UCLA.
Well, there was no medical reason for me not attending Harvard. I graduated from Harvard, so
Yes.
That's how I came across the country.
I'm sorry, I thought you had said you were on a medical leave of absence.
Yes, from UCLA.
Oh, from UCLA. So you're
Yeah.
in
So
Southern,
I just finished my first year of my doctoral program. It's like a 6-year program, and I'm just putting it a little bit on pause right now.
Okay. So are you at home? I'm looking at all the books behind you.
Just in my office/library.
Well,
Nice.
I'm a big fan of books.
Yeah, likewise. I'm hoping to get to read a lot more for fun these days. But probably since the last time the three of us were able to chat, there's a lot that's gone on my end. So I did my master's at Harvard Divinity. Spent a long time studying under David Holland there, who during my time was the acting dean of Harvard Divinity School. Right, his dad is understandably Elder Jeffrey R. Holland, and I had a really great time.
I'm sorry, Jackson. This is Elder Holland's son, who is not the general authority, right?
Yes, he's not a general authority, but like he's been a stake president in that area.
Who's the GA?
What?
What's the name of the GA? His son?
Let's see. There's David, and then there's
I can't think of it right now. Do you know it, Bill?
Matthew Holland.
Who?
Matthew Holland.
And Matthew's the one that Elder Holland almost got killed in the desert with him, right?
The wrong roads.
When they got lost.
Oh, that story. Yeah, I hadn't connected him
down the wrong road.
particularly. I think Matthew was probably the one to speak in general conference back when he was a youngster too.
Yes.
The cool thing about wrong roads is whether it goes right or whether it goes wrong, God's still behind it. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's been super influential on kind of my own personal theology and approach to Mormonism for sure.
So you do think that heads you win, tails you lose? That's how God plays it?
Well, let me put it this way. In the past year, a little over a year now, last September, I was able to get married. And so my wife
wait a second. You got married?
Yeah.
In this past year?
What was that?
This past year, 2025?
2024, September.
Well, I guess I'm still waiting for my invitation.
Yeah, sorry. It was fairly small. It was in Virginia. But my wife, she's ex-Mormon, agnostic, atheist. We met in the singles ward and, kind of became friends. And then, she ended up leaving the church. And shortly after that, we began dating. So, I very much, whether it's her, whether it's my mother who's left the church or various family members, or, even you two gentlemen, I kind of look to, everyone, all of God's children, irrespective of their, religious traditions or perhaps lack thereof, as still progressing towards, I don't know, the kind of plan of happiness that I espouse in the eternities, and so I don't really see religion or lack thereof as making a difference as to whether or not someone can grow to be a better person and therefore take on virtues that reflect God's virtues. Yeah.
Let me ask you one question. Not playing gotcha, which I to some degree I like to play. I like to play gotcha.
Yeah, sure.
But in this instance, not the case. I just want to ask you a more general question and get your thoughts, because I think you're smart. I think you're a brilliant human being. I think you understand, at least to some degree, the depth of a plethora of issues across Mormonism. The Mormonism that Joseph Smith and Brigham Young and Wilford Woodruff, that Mormonism is so different from today's Mormonism. Even Bruce R. McConkie would be turning over in his grave from the 80s and 90s and 2000 Mormonism. To be surprised at where we're at today. Gordon B. Hinckley would be flustered at some of the things that have changed that he wanted to make space for. And
especially the whole Mormon thing.
what are your thoughts? Mormonism as a narrative that it's talking to God and there's this whole ongoing restoration and we're just building blocks until we get it right. But that also implies that we've been getting it really wrong in lots of places along the way. And I don't want you to explain that. What I want you to explain, or at least give your 2 cents on, is a leadership that seems upset with the progressive post-Mormon crowd who are saying, guys, catch up. Here's the truth, only to find out 40 years later all the time that really was the truth, that we always should have been more compassionate towards gay people, that we always should have denounced in some level the race and priesthood ban, that we should have acknowledged that Joseph Smith was doing something not so great and healthy with polygamy. What does it say about the leaders of the church who seem to be the last ones to catch up, even though they're the oracles of God, the last ones to catch up to a Mormonism that is constantly changing into something that is not what it used to be claimed to be when they were adamant that was the truth?
Yeah, well, these narratives that are formed within the tradition, of course, are strongly rooted in the respective theological views of the leaders who espouse them, right? It's both, an individual process in the sense of, the tradition's reliance upon a singular, prophet or leader viewed as inspired to kind of speak on behalf of the community and be that kind of recognized, a vessel between, God and the larger church. Yes.
Jackson, I'm so sorry, because my understanding of Mormonism was that the prophet doesn't speak on behalf of the community. The prophet speaks on behalf of God. Isn't that what you understood as a member?
Well, yes, no, I wouldn't view that as mutually exclusive. Of course, the prophet represents the faith on the global stage, right?
Remember which way you face, Jackson.
Yeah, so I would certainly view it as both being true. But let's see, what I was going to say is that I can definitely look to moments in the Latter-day Saint past where certain members of the faith, held on to perspectives.
When you say members, you also mean leaders.
Yeah, members and leaders, but specifically
the prophets who speak for God.
But the members get it from the leaders.
Well, I'm trying to address the kind of dilemma you raised about the prophets being 40 years behind or what have you, right? That there's been these individuals in the process, sometimes along the margins, sometimes within the church infrastructure itself, who have been those voices for certain forms of perhaps theological innovation, social inclusion, progress in various forms. And so it's collectively negotiated, right? That the complexes or
Jackson, you're losing me again. What church are you talking about? Mormonism?
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yeah,
That's collectively negotiated.
This will get to
religion. I mean, my view is that religion is always inherently collectively negotiated. That is the underlying fabric of how religion works.
Perfect. I want to ask you one more thing, which plays on what RFM just said. Would you agree that Mormon leaders claiming to be prophets, seers, and revelators have been too certain, too arrogant about their positions, regardless of the harm that's being done to people on the ground? That maybe we could debate whether it's beneficial to the church or not, but maybe it's beneficial to human life if they exercised a little less certainty and a little more humility about what it means to be a prophet, seer, and revelator, and just how much they can get wrong. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the way that I would approach it is that the prophets themselves, one, irrespective of the religion we're talking about, I do think it takes a bit of, there's this dual dimension of being a religious leader both takes a certain form of ego and confidence in one's own mission, while also, hopefully a form of humility too in serving others. Now, not everyone is always able to do that perfectly, but in the case of the LDS Church, I think there's times where we're able to very clearly see the humanity of church leaders in a way that demonstrates their
You
own.
mean when they? Do you mean the humanity when they fuck up? Is that what you mean?
When they
We
fuck
can
up.
see when they fuck up.
Well, not even just then, but just the learning process in general, right? The change over time,
You mean trial and error.
the growth that's prompted by mortal experiences of making mistakes, of doing correct things.
Yeah, Jackson. So I love it. I know you're
a nice guy. We like you.
Yeah, I love it. Seriously. But you're softening it up so as to not really hit it right where it's actually needed.
You're not describing Mormonism.
No, these guys did a race and priesthood ban. These guys had a founder who slept with 14, 15, 16-year-olds. This isn't, we can sit here and talk in the fluff. Elder Oaks, in his comments about not letting his gay children stay overnight and introduce them to his friends, can you just point blank, again, risk it, take the chance, be bold and say, you know what, let me lay it on the line. These guys have fucked up in ways that have really hurt people, and they're arrogant as to avoid that until long after they're dead, and their predecessor, the people who come after them are going to have to be the ones who fix their comments. Can you agree that Mormonism has, namely its leaders have made really serious mistakes that have marginalized and hurt people, and the leaders have been arrogant about their positions as that has happened?
I wouldn't frame it in the way that you approach it, Bill. We come at this from very different angles and with very different commitments.
What do you think of Elder Oaks not wanting to introduce his kid, his gay son, to his friends and let him stay overnight?
What do I think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a bisexual member of the church myself, I would be hurt anytime someone excludes me on the basis of my sexual orientation.
Will you raise his hand to sustain him as the next president of the church?
Oh, yes. I actually, Elder Oaks is someone who probably years ago I had more kind of reservations or critical views on. And the more that I've learned about him, the more that I've kind of studied his life and tried to pay attention to the ways that he approaches his church service. Frankly,
and the way
the more
he discriminates
I've come to,
against homosexuals.
The more that I've come to appreciate him and actually look forward to the day when he leads the church.
You think he's homophobic?
I would not be surprised if, like others of his demographic, he espouses traditional views of gender or sexuality, which, to people to the political left or those who are, have a different kind of anthropology of human sexuality would view as unacceptable.
So Jackson, Elder Oaks has no special connection to God then?
Oh, no. I mean, what do you mean by special?
More than you.
More than me? I think he has a mantle and an office which allows him to, oversee the church in ways that I don't have access to. So in that respect, yes, I believe he's able to.
But is it with God, or is it just the power of his office to administer and preside in the church?
I would definitely view God as mediating that process of the administration of his office.
Do you think God mediated Joseph Smith taking young girls into his home under the guise of taking care of them as stepchildren in that role, and then switching it to an intimate husband-wife relationship?
I would view God as polygamy is of course a very complex topic, and I don't mean to say that in a euphemistic or.
Can you say it's wrong? Way. Can you just say it's wrong instead of complex? Is it wrong?
I have various ethical reservations when it comes to patriarchal polygamy in particular.
Would you let your 14-year-old daughter work in the Smith home, knowing what you know?
Knowing what I know?
Yeah.
I would probably want to have a firm conversation first.
Oh,
With
about
whom?
what boundaries would
Okay,
look
with
like.
whom? With your daughter or with Joseph Smith?
Probably everyone, but considering my wife is an ex-Mormon, I don't know that my daughter would be let near Joseph Smith.
But
You
this is
trust-
about you. This is about you. I appreciate the attempt. Would you or wouldn't you?
Yeah, would you or would
Would I or would I what?
you let your 14-year-old daughter work in the Smith home? Now, again, it doesn't matter what Joseph Smith says. He said lots of things to those kids and their parents. He sent people on missions. Would you let your 14-year-old daughter work in the Smith home and go, whatever happens, happens?
No, I would consider myself a bit negligent in my parental responsibilities by just throwing the hands
Because
up.
you're worried Joseph Smith would shag her.
You be honest. In your heart of hearts, you trust that if you had a 14-year-old daughter, she'd be safer with Radio Free Mormon and Bill Reel than she would be with Joseph Smith.
And that's a low bar.
See again, this is where the rubber meets the road, and nobody wants to say it. They all want to sort of skirt around it. But would I 100 times over, I'm going to leave my kid with Radio Free Mormon before I leave my kid with Joseph Smith?
Well, I would say I probably know Joseph better than I know either of you two gentlemen. So, the kind of unqualified access, we would probably have to have deeper conversations before I would be comfortable with that.
And after those deeper conversations, and he reassures you that everything's on the up and up,
I promise you, Jackson, your daughter's safe with me.
Yeah.
So then you're going to let her go ahead and work for him.
You'd let her.
Me.
No, I'm not just going to take your word for it, just like I wouldn't take Joseph's word for it.
Jackson,
I was speaking for Joseph as if I were Joseph. Jackson, I'm Joseph. Jackson, you can trust me. Your daughter will be safe with me. You're fine.
Jackson, it was always a no. And in your heart of hearts, it's always a no. Your answer is no. It doesn't matter how many conversations you and Joseph Smith have. It's a no, but you can't say it. You sense right now you can't say it.
Why can't you say no to that question, Jackson?
Well, I mean, part of it is I largely object to the framing and object to the kind of rhetorical purpose behind it.
But it's still a question, and it's a legitimate question. Do you think it's an illegitimate question?
I think intent matters a lot. And I
Why?
think
Actually, it doesn't matter. It's a question. And it doesn't make any difference if somebody's playing got you, which he said he loves doing it. So caveat emptor. He did say that before.
I did.
But really, it's a simple question. Would you or wouldn't you? The answer is no. But for some reason, you're saying, because I don't believe that you would. Okay. I think highly enough of you that I think that your answer really would be no in your heart of hearts. But it raises the second question is, why don't you feel comfortable just saying no?
Well, the thing is, I would trust, or I put my trust in Joseph in various ways. That
not with young girls.
I would be much more
not with your daughter, just with your eternal salvation.
I really liked, for example, in the most recent biography of Joseph Smith. Let's see.
What do you think of that?
Well, I've only been able to read parts so far. I really enjoy it, and I think it's a really nice compliment to Rough Stone Rolling, and probably a good replacement of Brody's work. But I really like
work.
What was that?
Why isn't it a replacement of Rough Stone Rolling, and why do you think it's a replacement of Brody's work? You have a reason for saying that, and I'm just wondering why.
The author himself framed it as such, that his intent was to kind of be the update to Brody and not to Bushman.
Okay.
Yeah. Which do you guys remember his John Turner? There we go. Yeah. I really liked what John Turner in a kind of preview of the book several years ago said.
Are you feeling on safer ground now, Jackson?
What was that?
Are you feeling on safer ground now?
No.
Heartbeat decelerating a bit.
No, just bear with me. The point that he made was that while Joseph Smith impresses him in many different respects, he probably wouldn't trust Joseph Smith with his money, with his wife, or maybe with one other thing. And that's something that I could sympathize with in various respects. And so, related to your question, No, if I had the chance, I would probably pick different babysitters than Joseph Smith, but that would also probably be true of other men, in their 30s.
Sure. But
It should be true of anybody who cares about his daughter.
Your kid is safer with me than with Joseph Smith. What is that saying?
And that's saying something.
Founder.
Um,
I'm telling you right now, Jackson, your fucking kid is safer with me than with Joseph Smith. And in your heart of hearts, you know it. Because
Exactly.
well, I mean,
no, hold on. Even if you don't know about me, you don't know about me. You know about Joseph. And in your heart of hearts, if you had to, I got to send my kid into one of those homes for 6 months, you're sending him to the reels.
probably not. Probably not.
One or the other. You're sending him to one or the other. Pick one. And then this is it. We got to let you go. Pick one. You have to have your kid babysat for 6 months in Bill Reel's house or in Joseph Smith's house.
Look, his kid's not coming to my house for 6 months.
Which one is it, Jackson? Pick one. Pick one.
Which one is it?
Yep. Pick one.
No, that's okay, Bill. I'll pass.
All right. Have a great day, Jackson.
All right.
Okay.
Pleasure as always.
Bye. See you, Jackson. Thank you for calling in. I always got to appreciate when Jackson calls in. What are you doing over there? It's like you're victorious or something.
Look,
are you celebrating?
If I don't know anything about if we just pick a random man,
yes,
general pop. Again, this is bear or man, right? Women go, I'd rather face a bear in the wilderness than a stranger man, and I get it. 33% of women report being sexually assaulted at some point in their life. If you don't know anything about a stranger and you know about Joseph Smith, you send your fucking kid to the stranger's house. You send him
like, would you trust your money with some random guy or one of these 10 guys on the wall of the post office?
Yes.
So Jackson. I was going to ask Jackson though, as maybe he's watching, I don't know. But I want to ask him the question, just as a thought question, if he ever wants to call in again, is now that we've, I think, demonstrated that you wouldn't trust your teenage daughter with Joseph Smith to work in his home, you wouldn't trust Joseph Smith there, then why is it that you trust Joseph Smith with anything? And on what basis do you make the distinction?
You said the money line. You said you wouldn't
trust Joseph with your daughter. Only with your eternal salvation. Yeah.
With your salvation, you do. That's fucked up. We believing Mormons, again, I'm not one of them anymore, but we believing Mormons, when I was one, we believing Mormons are taught. And then we read the history and we try to figure it out and we go, Joseph wasn't healthy in polygamy. He was manipulating children into intimate experiences and doing things that a groomer would do. And he's also my founder, and I need the church to be true. And how do I reconcile those two things? And you just saw Jackson's cognitive dissonance in real time, where he goes, I can't say it. I just can't say it. But Joseph Smith might touch my kid.
Everybody was saying it in the live chat.
Fucking Mormonism Methodism doesn't do that to you. Methodism fucks up and you're like, hey, that fucking preacher messed up. You say it. In Mormonism, you're like, it's got to be true. It's got to be true. I got to hang on. And you white knuckle it. You just hold on tight and you white knuckle it and you hope that everything works out in the end, but you wouldn't leave your fucking kid with Joseph Smith.
No, but he sure translated a great Book of Mormon. He translated scripture and he fixed the Bible. Tyson, can we get Tyson on here? We got like 2 minutes left, maybe 3 for Tyson.
What do you think, Tyson? Would you leave your kid with Joseph Smith?
Well, I don't have a kid, so I'm fine.
If you did.
You know what? On that note, because many of us in the live chat tonight were saying, tonight's pretty heavy. This needs to be more fun. And I was like, do I need to bring in my Golem voice to lighten shit up?
I don't know.
And then Jackson called.
Well, I was hoping that I could put on I would go back, I would retrace back to my faithful, believing Mormon self. And you guys can, in these couple minutes, throw shit at me. but I'll say it in the Gollum voice.
I'm gonna be honest. The Gollum voice for me is sort of run its course.
Okay.
Here's one thing. Here's one question I want you to ask Jackson in your Gollum voice. Okay.
Okay.
Ask him if he had his caveman filter on.
Jackson, have you had your caveman filter on?
All right.
I think that's a funny line. I think that's great.
Okay. Golem's run its course, but I do want to. What's that?
Do you do Rod Serling?
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Okay. Hit the ejections button.
I'll look him up after the.
No, Rod Serling, Twilight Zone.
I know of the Twilight Zone.
A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind.
You do it well, RFM.
That of imagination. That's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
I don't need to do it. You got it. you got it.
Do it better, but what the heck.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, I did something on The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. Very, very famous episode from the Twilight Zone. Don't know have you ever watched any Twilight Zone?
No, not a start to finish. No, I know of it. I've seen like this is the Twilight
like 30
Zone.
minutes long.
Okay, I'll do it.
No,
I'll look at some after the.
They may have had a few that were an hour long, but those plots usually could barely hold up. They're stretched pretty thin to last just for half an hour, much less an hour.
I'll look it up just for you, RFM. I'll look up some old clips.
Monsters Are Due on Maple Street. It's fantastic. Or you could watch my recently released RFM episode. It's 10 minutes long.
Okay.
I covered the plot there.
No, I listened to that one. Yes, I did. I did listen to that at the end of one of. Yeah, I did.
Now that's Rod Serling right there.
That is not. That is Alfred Hitchcock.
So you know Alfred Hitchcock. Well, that's good. He's a famous director.
He was.
Do you remember the movie with all the birds attacking everybody? What was that called again?
I think it was the feathered creatures pecking at people. Is I think what it's called.
I stole that line from a trailer for a movie that hasn't been released yet. I thought that was just kind of funny.
That is funny. And I think we need more funny shit for the end. I won't do the Golem voice. It's run its course. Message received, Bill. That's fine.
I hope you're not smarting over that. Bill was pretty rude when he said that.
No, I'll accommodate. I'm not a one-trick pony. I kind of am, but I'll put on my apologist hat.
Yes.
Both of you ask me anything, and I'll answer as if I'm still a faithful, believing Mormon. Rip into me. I got it.
Would you let your 14-year-old kid sleep in the Joseph Smith home, stay for 6 months, work as a maid? Would you do that?
Bill, I don't have a 14-year-old. I don't know. I wouldn't.
If you did, hypothetically, if you had a 14-year-old.
You know what? I honestly would, because I know that I know by the power of the Holy Ghost that Joseph Smith speaks the word of God, and I would want my 14-year-old to be around the voice of God.
I know by common sense and logic that he was a hebephile who liked to touch teenage children and manipulated them into being in close proximity to him and having deprivation of sleep and having spiritual penalties put on them if they did not come back and answer yes. And hence your Holy Ghost really doesn't do anything for the welfare of a child. And so I cross you out.
Jackson. Hey, see, here's the problem, okay? Tyson, this is what Jackson is now saying in the live chat.
Yeah.
I think he's saying it about Bill because I'm a good faith raconteur, not Bill. Jackson says, Trevor, that's good to hear. Now I know the interrupting was purposeful and that mutually good faith conversation wasn't what he was looking for. He's got to be talking about you because I'm always looking for a mutually good faith conversation.
RFM, if I ask you a question that makes your argument seem like bullshit, you avoid my question directly. Yes. Is that a good faith argument?
Okay, for you or me?
For you. If you avoid answering my question,
good faith conversation. See, that's the problem.
Are you having a good? Yeah. Are you having
conversation?
A good
means you're not supposed to call me on my glaring errors.
If I point out the flaws in your argument and I hold you accountable to the answers that you give to those questions, which will pin you down and show that your logic is irrational and illogical, is that a good faith argument on your behalf?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand the second sentence by Jackson. I'm guessing the answer is no. The answer is no to what you said. Now Jackson's saying definitely recommend How to Have Impossible Conversations when it comes to managing constructive discourse across lines of distance. I'm guessing that's a real book.
Let me say this. I am definitely an obstacle to apologetic voices coming on to our shows and opening up about what they think, because I will not give them a free pass. And I'm just going to tell all of you right now, I'm never going to give you a free pass. I'm going to ask the question that pins you down, and you're going to have to wiggle out of it, and everyone will see that you wiggled out of it and that you refuse to answer the question directly. And Jackson, I'm sorry, I like you, but you know the answer is no, and you didn't want to say it. And you should go to bed tonight and lay on your pillow, and you should go, why would I not want to say no? Joseph Smith had inappropriate interactions with children, and I didn't want to stand up for the children and say that he shouldn't be allowed to be anywhere near them alone. Why did I feel that? Why do I feel the need to do that? And then once you really sit with that question, whatever that answer is, that'll be life-changing for you, Jackson. Anyway, my 2 cents.
Tyson, do you have any other imitations that we can quickly grow tired of?
I just discovered I could do Grandpa Simpson.
Really? Old man yells at clouds. Let's hear it.
Grandpa Simpson here. That's pretty much it. So I'm a 2-trick pony, but I thought I could do that one with
1.5.
Okay, we'll take 1.5. I'll take it.
Not gonna do it. World peace. Bring it here. George Herbert.
Not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be prudent.
Wouldn't be prudent. In this juncture.
All right, I'm gonna let you go, Tyson.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for calling in, and always nice to see you. Have a great weekend.
I worry a ton, RFM.
Why did you look up Alfred Hitchcock?
I was thinking he was the Twilight Zone, but he's not. You're right.
Bring it back. I thought there was a disconnect there. That's what I said. And there's Rod Serling, and that's 100%. What he's no, it's Alfred Hitchcock. Oh, you know who Alfred Hitchcock is.
I have worried so many times over the years. Now I've had, you probably saw me reach up and grab my bottle and put a little more in. So I'm under the influence, and we'll just leave it at that. But I have thought so many times that my not letting apologists give the fluffy, distancing answer frustrates you, frustrates some people in the audience. But I can't just throw out the question where we all of us, 10,000 people who watch this episode go, it's a no for Jackson. And we just let Jackson say his piece, and we excuse him from the show, and we go, that's just a different perspective. We all come to the table with different viewpoints, and that makes no sense to me. It's an obvious no. Jackson knows it, and I know it. And anyway, I'll leave it at that. So I'm sorry if I frustrate you, if I frustrate members of the audience.
Me?
Yeah.
You frustrate me?
Maybe. I don't know. I worry that
the only thing I'm frustrated about is we're apparently not going to get to my part of the conversation with Ned Scarsbrick from last Wednesday.
Well, I think this audience would love to go a little long.
Well, I tell you what, if you play it, I'll watch it by myself if nobody else wants to watch it.
Yeah, let me do that.
I think I did some good stuff here.
I think you're brilliant. And this is where I think you excel, is in the Q&A of putting somebody on the spot. So here is
you can go back like 5 seconds. Are you able to do that?
Yep. Here we go.
There we go. You don't need Mormonism. You don't need Mormonism.
Say again?
You don't need Mormonism. You just need faith in God then? Is that we've never met before, right? I'm just trying to figure out what you believe, Ned.
Well, I believe that God is just and perfectly merciful, and whatever he decides will be perfect in eternity. And whatever that is fine with me.
So you don't need Mormonism.
He said it doesn't matter how much they get wrong. It'll all work itself out in the wash.
Yeah, but I'm going to be a little bit persistent now.
I know. That's what you're
according to Ned Scarsbrick.
Oh no! You whatever level of heaven or that
You don't need Mormonism to be exalted in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom, according to Ned Scarsbrick, correct?
Wasn't it Swedenborg who came up with the idea of the 3 degrees of heaven?
It was another coincidence.
But still, you don't need Mormonism. You can be exalted without Mormonism, correct, Ned?
Didn't he just give evidence against Mormonism by saying that Joseph Smith plagiarized Swedenborg?
You know, people do the strangest things when they feel like they're under pressure. Remember how much Holland gave up in that interview. Once again, that same interview, right? Remember when he gets talked to about the temple endowment and masonry. It sounds Masonic, sir. And he goes, well, there are elements of it in Mason. And you're going, what? You're giving away the whole farm here, because he was under pressure. So he starts giving evidence against the church. Yeah, there's elements of masonry in the temple. Okay, well, that was news to a lot of people. And now he's saying, well, 3 heavens, wasn't it Swedenborg who came up with that before Joseph Smith? Didn't Joseph Smith rip that off Swedenborg? I'll say anything at this point to get off the hot seat.
Did Swedenborg talk to God, or did Swedenborg just get lucky, or did he say a thing that sounded cool and Joseph took it? Because I feel like you're limited to one of those 3 options.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, look, for people who are interested in religion, and there's a lot of them, and I'm still interested in religion, okay? But the idea is you're talking about a difference, a hot controversy, a hot debate, especially in the burned over district of the Second Great Awakening, that heaven and hell means there's a dividing line. And everybody above that dividing line goes to heaven to be blissful for eternity. And everybody below that dividing line goes to hell to be damned and punished for eternity. So where the hell are you going to draw that line? And there's no good way of doing that, you see, that makes sense. And so a lot of people were saying, well, there are gradations. There's not just heaven and hell. There are gradations. And that's where Swedenborg, of course, came up with the idea. It's out of this idea of trying to seek and create a God who is fair, or fairer than a one heaven, one hell God would have to be.
2 things. One, first off, Trevor Larson, all are opposed to the show. I highly doubt it, by the way. Folks can put in the comments what their thoughts are, but I would say, number 1, fuck Jacob Hansen, and 2, fuck Trevor Larson.
So he's kidding. He's just responding to somebody else, I'm sure.
I know.
Trevor Larson is a very funny guy. And you know what? I think I met him. I don't think I met him. I did meet him at one of our shows, one of our presentations in Salt Lake. I sat at the same table with him. Of course, I was moving and sitting with a lot of people, but I believe he was just to my right. He's just very, very funny guy. He's very dry humor, and he will say things that he absolutely is meaning the opposite of, and saying it in such a sardonic way that a lot of times it makes me LOL.
I know Trevor Larson. I was joking too. I'll just know. I just wanted to read.
Did I get it wrong, Trevor?
No. He said as much. He said, by the way, I just want to note, you guys are commenting so fast that when I go to click on a comment, it's already moved up to the top. And then I click some other comment I didn't want on the screen.
It's looking like a Mormon Stories episode in the live chat.
It is. I just want to say, by the way, this show survives on donations, folks. If you like what we're doing, if you want to laugh with us every Friday, if you want this show to go 10 years into the future, please consider donating to the show. And I'll put that back up on the screen. There is the donation link. It is in the description for the YouTube channel, and you can go down below. You can super chat us. Although I love those. They're really fun. They show up in colored comments, and they definitely let us know how much you're appreciating the show. But YouTube takes 30% of that. So the best way to do it is to go down to the YouTube description, click the donation link, send $5 or $10 a month, send $100 a month if you love the show that much and you have the means to do so. We really appreciate all the support of our program, from the $5 all the way up to some people donate $1,000 or more at times.
And there's Daniel John Carey with a nice donation saying, donate some money, folks. And that includes you too, Jackson. Jackson, come on, you should go and make a donation. Make it a recurring donation.
Ned,
you're not paying as much in tuition anymore because you're on this medical leave of absence.
Yeah.
Donate that to us, would you?
Ned Scarsbrick just told you that Joseph plagiarized from Swedenborg, and then you don't let him off the hook. You keep on him.
I know. It's like I smell blood in the water.
Yeah, here it is. Here's RFM.
I'm sorry.
Great white shark who Ned Scarsbrick is a swimmer who has a Band-Aid on with blood leaking out slowly. And here's
I
our.
think that's possible. Sure. Especially people who are born before 8 years old.
No.
Yeah,
Forget it.
He did all right, I got to stop it. He
Mhm.
did the thing where he came up with in his brain the excusable allowance to justify all the unexcusable allowances. And you said, no, Mr. Scarsbrick. You know
And then
what
I made it about me, who is obviously not under 8 years old. Yeah, I'm the shark. He's the Kintner boy.
Yeah, this was so good.
No. Forget about it. You don't need Mormonism. Ned, I don't need Mormonism to be exalted. Is that a true statement?
I think that's true, yeah. And I'm going to get in trouble with that.
Yep.
I'm going to
I
have
hope
to
so.
have another
That's what I'm trying to think. I went to a lot of effort to get you to admit that. Are you?
Say that, RFM.
I said, I hope so. I went to a lot of effort to get you to admit that.
Yeah. This is the game, by the way. If you watch it, you and I see it. We see it before it even happens. You ask the question, you know what's coming. So you're already ready to go like, no. That's not the question. For Jackson's $5 words.
It's just too obvious. It's like I got to corral some cats here.
You ask a question. Ned comes up with the excusable example off in the weeds. And Jackson, Ned could have just addressed your question as you asked it, pertaining to Mormonism, the way you meant it. He knew what you were asking, but he doesn't want to.
Because he's going to get in trouble. Now think about that too. Remember, in Mormonism, saying something that I think most people would look at as kind of innocuous, as what Ned's saying, would be surprised that would get you in trouble. But that is Mormonism in a nutshell. You have to say the right things. And if you say the wrong things, you might get in trouble.
And he knows, by the way, one of the tricks is if you state, I might get in trouble for this, you're less likely to get in trouble for that.
You think so?
Yes. I think that by saying it, he's announcing that he knows he's saying something that runs counter to Mormonism, but he's in a way begging for permission to just hold a view that's outside of orthodoxy.
Yes. And I think he wants to hold that view in theory, so he doesn't really have to. It's sort of a defense. It kind of gets you off the hot seat for a lot of these other questions, like, would you let your teenage daughter work at the Nauvoo house?
Yes, if she had lots of supervision. No, Ned.
Yes.
Would you let All right, here's some more.
You're an active member then, Ned?
Yes, I do. I go.
Okay.
Retired from the United States Navy, and I've served in the temple as a temple ordinance worker. And so I think the principles, the covenants that we make are good. And if we live and abide by them and make them who we are, and we have the faith in God that Meshach,
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Abednego. Who's named Abednego? Sounds like an Iraqi used car salesman, right? I don't know.
I guess so. But I'm also understanding that you don't believe that Joseph Smith was a prophet.
No, I think you do. I received a witness from the Spirit that the Lord told Joseph Smith to bring forth the Book of Mormon.
Okay, but I'm confused. I'm confused because you said he was mistaken about where he got the temple endowment. He was mistaken about masonry.
No, I don't think he was mistaken. I think he used it as a tool.
So you think masonry does go back to Solomon's temple then?
Oh, of course not.
Well, that's what Joseph Smith said.
You said this. No, I didn't. Okay, but you did say da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I did. It's too easy, RFM. It's why they don't come on.
The great ones make it look easy, though.
That's true. Guys, I know. By the way, Jackson goes, that was not a good faith conversation. Okay, Jackson, you're the one who didn't really want to answer the question because it made the point. By you answering the question, it made the point, and you didn't want to give that. You didn't want to concede that. That is not a good faith interlocutor. Anyway. All right. Here's some more of Ned Winfield Scarsbrick.
It's almost over.
Well, and he was wrong about that.
So you don't believe Joseph Smith was a prophet?
No, I don't. I think that's a false dichotomy.
What else was he mistaken about, Ned?
Oh, a lot of things.
Like plural marriage?
Wasn't a good idea. Wasn't a good idea.
Was it from God?
Didn't well, he had a conversation with Bill Marks just before, 2 weeks before.
Why the fuck did he say Bill Marks?
I have no idea. I think they were pals in grade school or something.
I had to call this out. You'll see me interrupt.
I know.
I'm like, no one in fucking church history has said Bill Marks, and you decided to go off script as if that added something to the conversation the way you did that. But all you did was indicate that you're just doing something crazy. It's not Bill Marks. No one's ever called him Bill Marks. Not one time in church history is he referenced as Bill Marks. He's William Marks. Joe Smith has been named Joe Smith 1,000 times in church history, and you would refuse to call him Joe Smith. But you called William Marks Bill Marks. All that does is distance who William Marks is so that the average Mormon doesn't even know who the fuck we're talking about. All right, here's more of that.
Before he died.
Why are we saying Bill Marks when everywhere is William Marks? Why do you do that?
I like Bill rather than William.
I got you.
So that's when you said, look, I've been deceived.
Anytime
everybody was practicing it, you got to stop.
I love
so you believe Joseph Smith was a prophet, even though he got deceived about something like plural marriage. You got deceived thinking it was from God and he was wrong.
That's so messed up.
People make mistakes. That was a serious one. He was
but prophets can't. Otherwise,
he just said that's a fucking serious mistake.
I don't think he said fucking.
No, he didn't.
He thought it.
Serious mistake. He just said Joseph Smith made a serious
mistake. Yes. And he's saying, but that's okay. And that's why I come back. But no, not prophets. Prophets don't get to do this crap and still be prophets. I'm sorry. I think God has some standards. I'm the only guy around. Well, I know you are too, but I seem to be the only guy around who thinks that God has standards for his prophets.
How can God go, all right, Joseph, Jesus Christ, Joseph, you just fucked a 14-year-old dude. You just manipulated Lucy Walker, who's 17 years old. You manipulated her, sent her dad on a mission, took her into your home, said that you were going to take care of her as your own daughter. And then you fucking went and messed with things and you fucked with her. Oh, God damn it, Joseph. Look, don't do that again. Don't do it again. Go forward. Just get it right this time. God damn it, Joseph. Jesus Christ.
Well, who's sending the angels with the swords? That's what I want to know. Maybe that's the devil too.
What kind of God lets his founding prophet of the restoration fuck kids and then go, God, I wish he wouldn't have done that, but Jesus Christ, I got to let him continue.
He's apparently encouraging it in the first place. Joseph Smith was chastely resisting as long as he could.
God damn it. You have to believe some crazy shit to be a believing Mormon and to know the issues. It's crazy. All right, here's a little more of Ned. Ned Winfield. He was named after the right fielder of the New York Yankees, David Winfield. Oh. Ned Winfield Scarsbrake.
They're not prophets, Ned, right?
I don't.
How do you tell whether?
Well, look about Moses and the water from the rock. He was going to do it. He did it. No, God is the one.
Ned, defending it the way you are. Ned, the way you're defending it the way you are is to bring something else up. I want you to just address the questions. How do you tell the difference? RFM just pinned you down and got you to say that you agree that there are lots of things about Joseph Smith's behavior and life and actions that didn't come from God, and other things you think did, and yet how do you discern which is which, and how did you get it right? And all the saints in the past and the prophets themselves couldn't.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you believe in radio waves?
I ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe in radio waves? And you and I both know where he's going. Some people can pick up a radio wave. Some technology can't.
Oh,
Prophets over here couldn't pick up the radio waves. But, Ned Scarsbrick sitting over in, Tuscaloosa, whatever, Ned Scarsbrick is able to pick up the radio waves that Brigham Young couldn't pick up, that the members in Brigham Young's day couldn't pick up, that Heber C. Kimball couldn't pick up, that Wilford Woodruff couldn't pick up, that Bruce R. McConkie couldn't pick up. And the only reason Ned can pick them up is because he has the convenience of being in a modern moment in 2025 when all the historical context of the historical documentary history proves that would be bullshit wrong if he's held on to the old views. Yeah. Isn't it convenient to live in 2025 when you can read the documentary history and learn that past leaders were full of shit and that the members that were underneath them believed it? What a convenience that is.
What I'm seeing more and more is members who are familiar with the issues who will make concessions where they have to make them and not realizing that concession is a domino in a rather short row of dominoes that click over to this whole thing is not what it represents itself as being.
Yes.
That Mormonism is not what it represents itself as being. But the first domino, and then they say, nope, can't go past that. Can't let it hit the next domino because I know where that's going to lead. I'm not prepared to go there.
Yes. Ned knows that concession on one point equals a whole floodgate of things that will need to be conceded to, and you can't even give the first one.
And I think here, this is really, once again, toward the end, about, and we should bring Diamond Dave on. He's the last caller. Do you have to close a studio or something in order to keep people from coming on?
It won't let me do that, but nobody else come in. Diamond Dave, you will be the last.
Especially from Mongolia.
What's up? I've been waiting to drink with you guys here. There we go.
Do you have some yak milk there?
No, this is Japanese beer.
Oh, cool.
Diamond, I know you like to play the line and you like to be soft, but you got to acknowledge folks like Ned Scarsbrick do not want to answer the questions directly.
Yeah, neither did Jackson, and that honestly pissed me off. The short answer is no.
No.
And I can even extend, because I think I see where he was going with it, with the whole let's have conversations and set down ground rules. The reality is with Joseph Smith, we know what's going to happen. With Radio Free Mormon, there's a chance, but we don't.
Yep.
That's why we do the due diligence and have those conversations. But you're not going to go to someone like Joseph Smith, who is going to do these things, and have a conversation with them, because that conversation is not going to go anywhere.
Joseph Smith had 12 kids in his home, and he fucked 11 of them. And the one he didn't fuck was the African-American woman. I'm trying to think offhand. What's her name? Sally. Goodness gracious. I should know this. RFM, help me out, please.
You're not talking about Jane Manning James, are you?
Jane Manning James, who was sealed as a servant to Joseph Smith. She's the one female who at a young age works in the Smith home and isn't approached in a romantic relationship.
Sally, you may have been thinking Thomas Jefferson.
I probably was. Joseph Smith, what you point to, Diamond Dave, is that Smith had multiple young children in his home, and he approached all of them for intimate relationships. Fanny Elger, Lawrence sisters, Partridge sisters, Lucy Walker. And there were others too that worked in the home. That isn't the completion of the list.
Well, and here's kind of the dead giveaway. A grown man wanting multiple children inside his home. Like, that alone should,
Yep. I hate kids.
I'm just going to say it. Like, that alone, is reason why I think he got shot. Right. And I'm fine with it. But, it sounds harsh, but let's be real. How well do you think pedophiles do in prison?
Pedophiles should be shot.
They die very quickly. Yeah, that's what happens. Yep. So, I wanted to call in because Jackson did bring up something that I thought was kind of interesting, about the whole Charlie Kirk assassination. So, being in Mongolia, I saw one news article on it. One.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw one Chinese influencer talk about it. One. And I only found out about it because I follow this huge, like, kind of like, because I still follow US pages, like it exploded. And I'm like, what the hell is going on back in America, right? So I'm just kind of curious.
Well, you left Diamond Dave and everything's gone to shit.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. Like, I guess, I guess everything's my fault now. But I guess I'm kind of curious, like, from the because I'm really out of the loop on everything, but just like, what's the has anyone seen like what the church's reaction is, or what the general ex-Mormon community's reaction has been? Because I'm seeing a lot of like political hype, but that, and I'm seeing like a bunch of people leaving Christian churches because their pastors didn't talk about Charlie Kirk on Sunday. But I want to get like real info here.
I think the church is busy trying to deflect as much recognition of the fact that this kid was a Mormon on the records of the church. And I think that they would have been better served just to come out with it directly instead of using all these euphemisms, like instead of a bishop or a member of a bishopric, it was a good friend that was reached out to. And what it makes it look like, I'm not saying this is what was going on, but what it makes it look like is the church knew that the kid was a member of the church and did everything they could to try and keep the public from knowing that.
Yeah,
that's really what's going on as far as I can tell.
Okay, I kind of got that vibe, and I wasn't entirely sure. It seemed like, Ed, this is just something, because I keep tabs on things, but I noticed that like everyone's talking about it except the LDS Church and except like most Mormons,
But the LDS Church
got really silent, which is weird.
By the way, isn't it amazing that we're talking? You're in Mongolia, and I'm over here in Washington. It's just amazing to me. Every now and then I stop and think about it. But we got a general conference coming up here in 2 weeks, and my expectation is that the church will not say anything about this incident in general conference. Now, they may hint at it, but I don't think they're going to say it in any way that everybody goes, oh, this is what they're talking about. At least it seems that general conference takes place in a vacuum. And the vacuum is separate and apart from what's going on in the world. And general conference is a time where they really try hard not to be relevant.
Yeah, I've kind of noticed that too, but I just thought it was interesting that, like, I've seen you guys, I haven't watched the videos yet, but I see you guys do videos about his Mormon background, right? And I'm looking at various just kind of churches things to see what they say. They're not saying anything on it, but Mongolian news sources are reporting an assassination that happened in America. China is talking about it. Vietnam. Like Kazakhstan. I saw something in Kazakhstan about it. Everyone's talking about it. Like,
and they're saying he's a Mormon, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I don't really have all the facts. I'm just kind of like mind blown that other countries that people in America don't even think about, like even Kazakhstan. I saw an article in Kazakhstan about it. Who thinks about Kazakhstan in America, right? They did an article on it.
Isn't it where Borat is from?
I believe so. I believe.
Just for the record, to what Diamond Dave was saying, Fanny Elger, Lucy Walker, Emily Dow Partridge, Eliza M. Partridge, Maria Lawrence, Sarah Lawrence, Melissa Lott, all are girls under 22 years of age or under, and as young as 16. Lived in the Smith home. In other words, you're bright, Diamond. If you sent your kid to the Smith home, your kid was going to get molested. Your kid was going to get sexually abused. There was like a 90% chance that was going to happen.
I mean, in of itself, it just sounds like a brothel. Like, if you were to describe it, there's 12 women living with one man. Like, even adults. Like, that's a brothel. Like,
non-consensual brothel.
Yeah, like that's just.
Only one customer. Only one customer at the brothel. Joseph Smith. And then Jackson's like, maybe I talked to him. Maybe I talked to Smith and he convinces me it's all on the up and up.
I am going to write him a very, very strongly worded letter. Little to the left, little to the right, little to the left.
Oh, speaking about Mormon adventures here, because I did actually, it's on the topic of Mormonism. So me and the wife were out and about. I'm getting a root canal fixed. And we were walking
in Mongolia. Are you out of your mind?
No, it's actually great. So the reason why I have to get a root canal fixed is because I had it done before I moved to Mongolia and they messed it up. It got infected down to the bone. So,
the Mongolians are going to make it better now?
Oh, yeah. The pain's gone. It's great. The tooth is actually like revitalized. It's
really,
I love it. Yeah.
What's the name of your dentist?
I'm sorry?
What's the name of your dentist?
It's in Mongolian. I don't actually know. But it's down by the state market. So it's like kind of in the city center area. They're amazing. I love them.
Well, but it would be good for business because I mean, I'd like to go see a guy who's a good dentist. Doesn't everybody want to know a good dentist? Everybody wants to know a good dentist and a good mechanic.
Yeah,
and a good lawyer.
Someone wanted to see my beer quick, and I love it. It's
Asahi.
Asahi, yes. But I did want to say this is the second time I've seen a pair of Mormon missionaries walking around downtown. And what's interesting is they were sister missionaries. They were both Caucasian, and they were both wearing flower dresses with, the prairie dresses, and you can, do the garment check and see the garments. And my wife was like, you should have said hi, because I pointed them out like as we walked away.
You had to point them out. They weren't obvious.
Well, so like they stuck out, but like I pointed out those were actual Mormon missionaries, and she's like, oh, you should talk to them, and I'm like, no, they were not having a good time. They did not look like they were having a good time. So So here's the thing. I don't know if they're new, if it was a culture shock thing. I don't know if it was intimidation of just walking around downtown like Ulaanbaatar. It could be culture shock. It could be just being in an unfamiliar environment. They might be new. It could be their first mission. I didn't know, but they one of them was like looking around constantly, and the other one was just like we were at a stoplight waiting to cross. And the other one was just like bone stiff. Like one was holding a phone, and like her entire body was just locked.
Oh, sister missionaries.
Yeah, sister missionaries. And I'm like,
they don't stand out.
Are you too safe? Well, they stand out in Ulaanbaatar.
Okay.
Because there aren't. I've never seen Caucasians wearing Utah prairie dresses in Ulaanbaatar before. So, but yeah, it's interesting. They're not allowed to proselyte here, though. I do know that they're not allowed to proselyte. They do a lot of like well building in like the provinces, and they do a lot of English teaching, but it's a service mission. They're not allowed to proselyte. That is illegal here, which is nice because like I don't think you can actually refer someone here in Mongolia that way, like you can in America, right? So if I think RFM and Bill Reel are, heathens that need to visit missionaries, I give them your info and they show up at your door, they reach out and contact you. You cannot do here. That is illegal. That is a felony. And that is grounds for immediate deportation. What
happens if you're a citizen and you do it?
Citizens. So this is a little bit. So citizens.
It's a felony.
So Mongolia does have freedom of religion. So what I have looked up online is that citizens can do kind of limited proselyting in certain circumstances, but they have certain regulations they have to fall under, and I think they have to like either register. It's very, very regulated for citizens.
Sounds like freedom of religion to me.
Well, I mean, in some ways, yes. In some ways, no. But I mean, it's nice that you can't like knock on someone's door and, you can't be bothered that way. Trevor, Mongolian jail must be rough. I'm assuming it is. I've never been to Mongolian jail. I hope I don't. So, but yeah,
Go
so
try and convert somebody.
Hmm?
Go try and convert somebody, and then you can return and report.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like going to jail. Actually, we were walking around yesterday, and I was just smoking a cigarette, and I found out from my wife that because we kind of felt, I felt like I was being judged, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, it's illegal to walk and smoke. There are designated smoking areas, but you can't actually walk and smoke." So,
All right. Well,
at least there's yak milk.
There is the
yak milk. Yeah, yak milk.
A little bit of Nesquik, and you can't tell the difference. Thank you, Diamond Dave. I'm gonna let you
go.
Good
to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
I want to get the end of this in. I know we've gone so long, RFM, but I want.
Yeah, but damn it, this is the best part. This is where it occurs to me to say, okay, so if Joseph Smith was deceived about polygamy, then who the freak deceived him?
Yeah, let's see what happens here.
I don't know how it is that you think that you're smarter than Joseph Smith as a faithful Mormon. That's what blows me away.
I don't.
You think you're smarter than Joseph Smith?
Do you believe in radio waves?
Ned, how do you know which teachings come from God?
That's the point.
How do you know? How do you know
the witness of the only one that's true, and that's the Holy Ghost?
Okay, how do
There's
you know
witnesses that
how
are false?
Ned, how do you know
all the radio waves that are false?
Ned, forget radio waves.
Right.
Ned, how do you know that polygamy practiced by Joseph Smith was wrong, but Heber C. Kimball didn't know?
I don't know. I wasn't born back then.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to HCV.
It's a convenient leap of perspective that you've taken in order to resolve this for you, where it's the saints prior to you had no benefit of doing such, and they just believed and did Mormonism in this corrupted way.
You could only do what you understand at the time.
I think
learn and grow, things change.
Wow.
True?
You could make Mormonism true out of anything, couldn't you?
No.
No, that doesn't apply to Joseph Smith saying that this it came from Masonry. Either he was right or he was wrong. You're saying he was wrong, which means that you know more than Joseph Smith did, at least on this issue, correct?
No, I don't believe that.
Well, if he said it came from Masonry and you're saying it didn't, and that Joseph Smith was wrong, all of what you've already said,
I'm saying
then you must mean that you are smarter, you know more than Joseph Smith does on this issue, right?
No, I'm saying the teaching method came from Masonry, not the covenants, not the principles.
We're talking apples. You're trying to get as hard as you can to get to the oranges. I know.
No, I like oranges.
Well, I do too, but we're talking about apples is the problem.
How are you able to know polygamy is not from God, but Joseph Smith didn't?
He finally found out he was deceived, and then after he found out he was deceived,
who deceived him?
2 weeks later, before, if he had not.
He admits that Joseph got shit wrong. He admits that Joseph was deceived. He's given everybody enough to go, I probably ought to look into this. Joseph Smith might have fucked things up.
I'll put my salvation in that man's hands.
We're almost there. It's about a little bit more. Here we go.
Would have been killed at Carthage. That would have been the end of polygamy.
Right. In that alternate reality. But Ned, who deceived him? Who the hell deceived Joseph Smith about polygamy being a good idea if it wasn't God?
It's the devil.
So Joseph Smith couldn't tell the difference between a revelation from God and a revelation from the devil, in spite of the fact he said he could.
Man, if that's not leading the church astray. The church just could not ever be led astray.
I told you, Bill. I told you.
Ned, and I appreciate it. We're going to move on to other folks, but I really appreciate you helping us prove our point. Thank you.
Hey, Ned, you're a good sport. I appreciate your coming on the show. I've never met you before, but I'm actually kind of impressed.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Mildly frustrated.
As you were, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. At ease.
I said this during the podcast in part. You saw me put my hand up. Joseph Smith is who taught us the fucking handshake method. We didn't know how to discern devils from good spirits. We didn't know the minions of Satan versus the Moroni's and Nephi's in the resurrected form. We didn't know. The only way we know is that Joseph came in and said, do the handshake, dudes. Do the handshake. Shake their hand. It's there. It's not there. Here's what it means. Here's what it doesn't mean. And then he gets deceived by Satan. That's crazy. That's absolutely bonkers. That's bananas.
Yeah, well, handshakes for thee, but not for me.
Handshakes for me, not for thee. And then you finish it off. I got one last laugh out of this. A Mormon can get themselves out of any box.
You got to clip this baby. It's not quite a short. It's kind of a long short or a short long, but you got to clip this baby. That was great that Ned showed up. I think I've never met him, but I think that I remember hearing, 10 years ago. I should have told him when he was here, maybe still watch it. He would do this thing for Fair Mormon, or I think it was for Fair, and he would like play the hymn from the Navy, or I don't remember the name of it, but I think I would have at the time because I listened to several of those and I thought they were interesting.
They're no Radio Free Mormon, that's for sure.
Well, no, thank God for that. And there it is. Now, have we made a short of that yet, Bill? Has that been released?
No, I've got the file ready, so I will release it here after this show, and folks can get a kick out of that. What a great time.
What I like is that we're another caller in. We've gone through another caller. The caller has hung up, and you're over there, and you're just sort of shaking your head with this smile on your face, and I say, you're still back on Ned, aren't you? And you go, yeah, I am.
That guy could get himself out of any box he needed to, any trap that he needed to, he could get himself out of. It's apologetics is a game. It's how can I get out of an argument without actually addressing the issue? And it's a lot of fun for them, and it's a lot of fun for us when we can pin them down and get them to do it.
Well, we've had I'm so sorry, Ned Scarsbrick, if that is your real name.
Ned
Scarsbrick call. And we had Jackson call tonight, and that was nice. And maybe we'll have more people call who are from a more faithful or believing perspective.
I love it.
And it would be great if that became kind of the show. But it's hard to find people who will call in. So I want to give Ned credit for calling in. And I want to give Jackson credit for calling in too, in spite of the fact that Bill Reel did not want an honest conversation. And I apologize on behalf of Bill Reel to you, Jackson, for that.
If there's anything I wanted, Jackson, it was an honest conversation. Would you let your 14-year-old child work in the Smith home for 6 months?
Not for 6 minutes.
What if Joseph sent you on a mission, Jackson? Would that make you more or less worried?
Would you accept that mission call?
Oh boy, what a great night at Mormonism After Dark. I hope everybody had a great time.
I know I did. I'm not sure about Jackson.
I don't think so.
I hope he did, because he knew this. He knew it was a snake when he picked it up.
he intimated that he was treated unfairly. And I would say that when you don't address the questions so that we can all deal with the information just as it is, I would say it was the rest of us, including the audience, who were treated unfairly. All right. Well, Monday night, newscast, 6 p.m. Wednesday night, Mormonism Live, 6 p.m. And then we'll see you guys all on the flip side.
Have a great weekend, everybody. And see you tomorrow night, by the way, 7:00 p.m. Mountain Time for a 1-hour length, mind-blowing, hopefully watershed, Radio Free Mormon titled Chiasmus, Case Closed.
There it is. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.